Hey, it's Total Schmidt Show. Welcome. It's Tuesday night, 6 o'clock, streaming YouTube on the Lenny Schmidt Comedy Network. You know the drill. Tonight I'm talking to Lisa Alvarado. We're on the Carnival Miracle. And sit back, enjoy the show. Hey, welcome to Total Schmidt Show. How you doing? I'm back at sea. Here's what you're going to get from the show. It's kind of like quarantine comedy, except I'm not going to be home. Actually, it's kind of like quarantine comedy and a combination of all the stuff I've done online over the last year or so. There's sketch stuff, live stuff, stand-up stuff, travel stuff, and of course, conversations with others who do the same things that I do on a daily basis. That's it. That's the whole show. And I'm going to record it all and put it on the intraweb. Sometimes. Usually late. Always late. Maybe. I don't know. And weekly? Nah, maybe. Sort of. Could be. Either way, sit back. I hope you enjoy whatever the hell it is I put together for this week on Total Schmidt Show. Hey, thanks for tuning in. If you're still watching, you know the drill. I talk to entertainers, performers, writers, singers, dancers, all that stuff. And it's all right here on my YouTube page, the Lenny Schmidt Comedy Network. You can check it out. Please do me a favor. First of all, thumbs up for the video. That really helps. Subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything. It helps me immensely. Lisa keeps giving thumbs up. She has no idea she's not on camera yet, which is the best part.
Thumbs up.
But Lisa's here. My guest is my good friend. I've actually known Lisa forever. So let's get right to it. There she is. Lisa Alvarado. There she is.
Hey, what's up?
Woohoo, Lisa Alvarado.
Yay!
We just talk, man. I don't interview people.
That sounds great.
I laughed my ass off when you called me when we were both on the freeway driving here, and they were freaking out, and they were like, "Where's the other guy?
Where's Lenny?" They're like, "Do you know Lenny?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I've known Lenny for 20 years."
Yeah.
I mean, we're both from Chicago.
Yeah.
Love that.
No, I'm glad. Well, I always mention this. It's awesome to be able to work with somebody that you know, especially during New Year's Eve, which is a gig I hate to work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This is a tough one.
Yeah. I don't like working holidays, but this was kind of cool.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was a good week, and the crowd was good. Usually, man, these New Year's Eve crowds, they're a shit show, and these guys were not bad. They were a lot of fun.
Yeah, they weren't bad. They weren't bad on this one. Even the family show was all right, which sometimes it's just like 500 kids and you're just trying to survive as a comic and not curse. And even if you're not cursing, you're still going to offend some parents.
Yeah. See, I love family shows, man.
Yeah.
You know, I've done a lot of live events at my kids' school. I never had a problem. When I first got here, it was freaked upon them. But when I started doing it, I was like, oh my God, these are not that bad. And this is a good family crowd because they're all on like Christmas break and stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's a ton of kids. And when I do my family show, it was the front row was at least 12 kids. You know, that are around that age of 11 and 12, that angsty, fucking shitty age, you know?
Yeah.
Where they're judgy. I talked to this kid that was Roland, I think his name was. He was a good kid, but he's just, he's hoodie on. Just a little attitude.
And that's the thing is that the kids expect you to talk to them on their level about their things, like games and cartoons. My son's older, so I don't know all the new stuff. Like I can't make jokes about something I don't know.
Right.
And then the parents are like, entertain us.
Right.
Because we're here and we're as a family. And I'm like, yeah, but not everything relates to both. Even if it's clean, it doesn't, like if I talk about divorce, the kids are going to be like, what? That's boring.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's a little tougher.
I
prefer the adult ones.
I know a lot of people do. I really like the family shows, man. I like being able to bridge the gap and talk to both of them. It really, to me, that's cool. And usually, if you make fun of here's a good way to win because I taught kids. Here's a way to win. When you talk to the kids, you give them the upper hand. You know what I mean? You're somehow it's like every Disney show you've ever watched. The parents are idiots. Yeah. You know, and the kids are smarter than the parents. So you give a kid some sort of opportunity to get an upper hand on you. And if he gets that, now he likes you. Yeah. Parents are happy because the kid's happy, and it's just kind of an easy win. But then you flip it back on them, you know, and you make fun of them without being mean. Like I think we talked about we talked about this the other day. Was so I used to be really aggressive on stage, and I would lose an audience because I'm a big dude and I'm loud. So if I was aggressive and attacked them, they would get defensive and freak out. But if you learn to make it, I'm just your buddy. Now suddenly that's easier, so that kind of works into my thing for the cruise ships, you know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just a preference thing, and some comics, I'm comfortable with it. I'm for sure comfortable doing the family shows, and sometimes they're really really fun. as long as the audience doesn't get too judgy. That's the only thing. But that
Right.
applies even with an adult show.
Yeah.
Like I just don't. My least favorite thing is the groan, where you just mention a joke. Or you could be talking about cereal and it's like, oh, did you really say that about Captain? And they groan, and audiences that aren't trained in comedy clubs groan because they don't know.
Yeah, they don't know how to act.
Yeah, they don't know that it's a borderline heckle.
Plus, one of the things I'm noticing now, I talk to every comic about this, especially my brother and I. If you when you watch social media, there's so many of these videos that are comics that are interacting with the crowd. So the crowd automatically thinks they're supposed to interact with the comic. Like a crowd comes, especially if you're not a trained crowd member. Like, remember when I told you I was on a date the other night? We stopped in the Improv and I brought her in to see Craig Robinson for a little bit. And she yelled something at Craig. And there were other people yelling.
Yeah.
But what she yelled was out of context and was wrong. And I looked at her and I go, don't do that. And the door guy came up right away and says, don't do that. And afterwards she's like, oh, what did I do wrong? And I explained it to her. I go, here's what you did wrong.
Yeah.
I go, you just yelled shit out. But it seems like I think more people watch social media and they think that they want to get involved.
Right.
But you combat that because you go into the crowd immediately.
Yeah.
So I think if you didn't go into a crowd, they're more apt to say something to you because they want to break the ice.
Yeah.
But you break the ice quickly, so they're like, "Oh shit, I don't know if I want to talk to her."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
So they know right away.
you got to establish that you're in control,
Right.
and that you can handle if they speak out. I think right away.
Right.
And I think the other thing is the reason that I talk to them up top is because I just want to let them know I see you. This is not a monologue. This is me saying I want to connect with you. Let's break that barrier of performance, artist, and audience, and we're separate.
Right.
I do this, you laugh, and that's the no. But like, let's have a conversation. This is me saying this, but how do you feel about it? And that's why I like the lights up during my show.
Yeah.
And a lot of comics hate the lights up.
I want to see those people.
Yeah, like a lot of people, they get thrown if they see expressions or they see disappointment or they see someone laughing and someone next to them not laughing, throws off their rhythm. I'm the opposite, where if I'm in a really pitch dark room and I can't see faces, I lose it. I go, if I can't see how this person's reacting, or like if the women are with me and the men are not with me, like, because you can't see that in the darkness. You just hear laugh or not laugh.
Right.
Or groan or, and the other thing is hecklers. They can't hide.
Yeah.
The lights are up just a slightly. You know where that general direction is. And if you ask the audience, hey, who said that? 9 times out of 10, people will be like,
Well,
that
they'll
dude.
tell you exactly who it is.
They will tell you, but in the darkness, they'll tell you too, but you can't see.
Yeah, but I can make fun of the fact that
Right.
I can still find them.
Right.
And I can go over there.
Yeah.
And B, I can go bring up the lights.
Right.
And which to me adds an extra oomph to it. Because then the crowd's like, oh shit, he's bringing up the lights. Now we're in trouble. So
Yeah.
I like to have the option because
Yeah.
most of the time I don't want to see their faces. Because what drives me crazy is if I see somebody 4 rows back, there's always somebody in the row that doesn't in a crowd that doesn't like you.
Yeah.
Like I worked with Scotty K once. You ever met Scotty K? He's a comic. There was he's so ADD neurotic. It was this room, this type of setup. The deck 2 forward lower. But if you look in the back, there's some lights where you can actually see someone completely. You can actually see one person if it's dark. There was one guy that hated Scotty that was just sitting through the whole show and just didn't laugh. And it was driving Scott crazy. And he goes, "Sir, could you move out of that light? Could you move?" And he's just neurotic that way. He's like,
wow.
So he'd tell a joke and the guy wouldn't laugh. He goes like, "Sir, you're really freaking me out, but you're not." And that's what freaks me out. If I see someone not laughing, it'll drive me crazy. Even if I'm killing, there's one person staring at me. I'm like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, but that's what I like is I like to connect. It's amazing how a setup and a punchline will work better if you look at someone in the eyes and they know that you're like literally speaking to them. It's a night and day difference in response. Even if you're not getting a ha 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 howling laugh, you get this look of approval like, yes, I understand what you're saying. And that connection makes me feel grounded with them, like I'm in the moment. Because when I'm talking at them, it's easy to put it on autopilot. We know our act.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And we know where the funny parts are. But when we are connecting with them, that's when I veer on these tangents because I see someone point and then they point to their husband and I'm like, oh, so this happened to you. So then I'm talking to them.
Right.
So that's kind of my style is
right.
most of the time my set, I bring up a set list, but I jump all over depending on what they do. Not that you don't.
Yeah,
in the
most
darkness.
people, especially on a ship,
Yeah.
most people will do that. Is my daughter?
Yeah.
Is my daughter hitting me up? Oh, okay. I'll have to get to that. I'll get to that. Yeah, no, I get, but yeah, that's interesting. But most comics will kind of go, I don't know many guys. Well, I knew a couple guys in Chicago that did that. You know what? Let me rephrase. I don't know many successful guys that stick to a script.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's different if you're working on a special or you're taping content.
Right.
Or if you're working on a specific bit and you have to get out. Like the worst weeks for me is like I do a new album every year, and the worst weeks for me are the 6 weeks before the recording, because I'm very material specific about everything I'm doing, because I want to make sure that bit is solid.
Right.
So I don't like to come out of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And which I think I'm going to change the next time I record the next album. The next album I'm going to try to play the crowd more in the album. You know, I'm going to really try and do that with the taping and see if I can make that work. And we'll work on it.
Well, then you're going to have it lit if you're going to tape the audience response.
No, not really.
Well, I mean, if you want to see faces and expressions.
I don't want to see faces and expression.
Well, in the special, you're going to want that, though.
No, I won't. No, it's easy because when I work at the room,
I like seeing that in my specials.
I don't like seeing it because when the room is dark, I feel like I'm talking to all of them and I'm connecting with all of them,
right?
As opposed to one person. And that makes it, for me, I feel better that way because then everybody is in on the joke.
No, but I'm saying in a taping, when the camera is pointed at the audience and you have someone maybe mid-stage or mid-audience saying something back to you or responding a certain way and it's dark, camera's not going to pick that up.
The camera will pick it up if the camera's in the audience.
Okay.
No,
just because I've taped it different ways and I directed my own special and it has to be a certain amount lit or the camera has a really hard time picking them up, their expression anyway.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Well, every time we've taped it, we've had no problem doing it. As long as the camera's in the right angle, because the light from the stage will light the crowd enough.
Depending on the lighting.
Because I don't want them lit bright. I don't want lit bright.
Definitely. Yeah.
Right. I want them just darken enough or light enough that you can see their face, but you know they're in the crowd. That's the point of the special.
Bottom line is it's just what style you like and what makes you comfortable.
Right.
You know, that's what makes you comfortable. I feel comfortable with a little bit of lights up on the audience. I love it.
I know some guys that work the whole theater lit up too, and I can't. I'm not a big fan of the theater lit up.
No.
You know?
I get it. There's pros and cons to both, actually.
Well, it depends on you. That's why it makes it great. Everybody's got their own style.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everybody's got their own format.
Yeah.
So it works out good. So you got now you're talking about taping your own special. Do you have plans yet? Do you have dates? Do you have anything set up?
I'm hoping to do it the weekend of Cinco de Mayo, like that first week or two of May. I'm hoping to do it in Chicago, but I'm not sure.
Okay.
Depends on how much it's going to cost me to get a crew. Because in LA, we can pull favors and we know people with, experience because it's LA. There's so many people in the film industry that we know and trust. But then when you go out to Chicago and I don't live there anymore, it's kind of like, where do you go? Where's the venue? You could probably pack it better because it's friends and family, but it's like what kind of a crew and all of that stuff comes into play. And then you don't live there, so you can't go map out the venue. Like everything has to be done in trips.
Right.
So that's a little harder. I still have to find the production company that I trust and like hire them to help me with the design and get a producer. And so I'm working on all of that right now.
Are you looking at theaters or are you looking?
I think I want to do a small theater and not a club.
Because the clubs are completely set up to shoot now. Like all those Annies have cameras all over them.
A lot of them. I was told by a few people who have specials, they're like, if you want to tape a special, make it look like a special. Like it's not at a club. It's on a stage of some sort. And it, venue size, it depends on however you want to do it. And I don't want to do a really huge one.
Right.
I don't think it's about that. I just think about style of shooting and I made a lot of mistakes on my first one. So you learn from those. And that's the fun part is like the next one you can go, oh, now I got to tape the intro 4 times from 4 different angles. Like when I did my first special, I hired a crew and the whole thing. We did it in Chicago and I only taped the one time coming out.
Yeah.
I didn't even think twice. I had so many other angles covered and like the audience and, doubled up on audio. I made all these good decisions. And then I was something so obvious. You don't even think about it.
Right.
You want that initial response of the audience to be this genuine, yay, she's out here.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh shit. Well, the girl bringing me up fucked up my intro.
Right.
So we had to VO her anyway.
Right.
And so we had to cut her out. We had to
edit
VO.
around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the angle that they got me coming out was good, but like I was like, oh, we should have got it from the back because we got it from the side, from the front,
Right.
all these angles. But nothing. I was like, oh, I love how you can see the whole audience from the back of me.
Right.
And so like there's things now that I know that I'll do,
Right.
You just learn from making mistakes and watching other really great specials and seeing how everybody else does it.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm still working on the bits that I want to put in it. Like which ones do I really love? What will I have time for? Because when we're doing these ships, you have to have 2.5 hours of material.
Yeah. Right.
If you're only taping a 45 to an hour, which jokes?
Right.
Which bits do you want in there for real that you love?
Are you going to do some of the material from the previous special?
No.
Right. You're saying
no, it's going to be
stuff.
a new hour. I might do stuff that I had skimmed on and was just like a one-liner joke or 2 lines, and now it's a 5-minute bit.
Sure,
like it's
right.
totally different.
Right.
So they might hear like one joke, but mostly I want to do all new stuff. Like I'm doing material that's never been taped about my father, about my son being older. None of the stuff from when he was little, but the stuff now about him being older, about him being a rocket scientist. Like this is all such interesting, new territory, which is just so fun to talk about,
Right.
Because I'm living it right now, all the emotions and, being an empty nester and what's it like he just got married. All of those things are just so fun to explore.
Yeah, it was kind of like when I got divorced, I reinvented my act completely.
Yeah.
Suddenly, and what's just cool about being a comic is your act should evolve with your life anyway. I mean, unless you're doing like I never understood these guys that have an act and they just do the same act all the time.
Yeah.
And they don't turn material over. Like I turn over about 40 minutes a year. It would drive me crazy if I didn't do stuff. And you're in such a great position now because he's an adult, he's married. That's a whole different life from being a single mom raising a son to being now a single mom with an adult son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a totally different place in life. Like I don't have a kid at home that I am responsible for like you do, where it's difficult. You're when you get home, you got kids stuff to do. When I get home, I'm like, I might send him a text.
Yeah, right.
How you doing? How was New Year's, bud?
Yeah,
like that sort of thing and sometimes I kind of feel a little lost, like, oh, he doesn't need me. And then the other part of my life is like, he doesn't need me. This is amazing. Oh my gosh, I could be drunk in Tijuana right now. He doesn't need me. It's like this sense of relief, but you also miss them so much.
Right.
But, being pregnant so young, I didn't have the regular party life like most of us did in our 20s. My whole 20s was work 3 jobs, provide for your kid, barely getting any sleep, not making enough money to raise him, being on welfare. Like there's so many hard things about being a single mom. And then now I'm like, oh my gosh, he's okay. He's a rocket scientist. I can travel the world,
Right.
and I'm not too old to enjoy it. So,
Right. Yeah. And you have a job that you do it, which is even better. I mean,
Yeah.
you're set. So you're kind of in a great position.
It's really like, now I'm happy that it happened the way that it happened, but not when it happened.
Yeah.
It was so hard. You can't see your way out of that. You're like, this would be my life forever. But now I'm happy. I didn't choose it.
Yeah.
I just did my best in the situation.
Well, it's one of those things you look back at your life and you kind of think, people go, would you change anything? And a lot of you are like, I don't know. A lot of it made me who I am today.
Yeah.
I am who I am because of my backstory
Right.
and my history.
Right.
So you're like, in hindsight, and it's not so bad.
Yeah.
Especially if things are going well now. It seems like things are
Yeah.
going well now. You have a whole different. It's almost like it's like a second chance at a career.
Yeah.
It's almost like it was great. But you gave an opportunity. I mean, you worked in this business for years, and now you can just focus on your business.
Yeah,
which
that's
is
all
a
I'm
whole
doing.
different. Yeah, it's a different
Yeah.
vibe. That's very cool.
Yeah. It's so much different now. And I think it's better that it's happening now because my confidence level, my experience level with stand up and writing and performing is so much different than it was 20 years ago.
Right.
So it's hard to blow up in your 20s.
Yeah.
You're blowing up for a different reason. It's
Right.
not really because you're that strong a comedian. It's because you got this look or you got a part on a show or in a movie.
You're young and you have a manager that wants to
Yeah,
create your career.
exactly. And or now it's, oh, you're a social media king or queen. You know what I mean? It's like
Right.
you're blowing up on TikTok. And no, but the thing with you and I is we now have the chops.
Yeah.
If we do blow up on social media or whatever else to back it up.
Right.
A lot of these people can't, you know.
Plus, I got my shit together a little bit more. If I had blown up in my 20s, I would probably be dead right now.
I know. We're sitting in this little office, and he's got crap all like this is connects to the wall. I don't know if you guys see this. This is a magnet.
Well, I'm just talking about
Like,
surviving.
I'm talking about like the I'm looking at the equipment. I'm like, what the hell do you pack up in your bag, dude?
Yeah, it all fits in one bag, man.
And for
It all
me,
fits
this
in the
is
backpack.
all shoes, but for him, it is
Yeah.
all like
That's the advantage I have. I just need 3
stands and
shirts, and-
microphones.
yeah,
and-
no makeup, no bullshit. You know, I get up, I'm ready. You know,
Yeah.
it's that guy advantage I have.
Oh,
I'll take it.
It's such a great guy advantage.
I know it's the best. I have to do
Man,
nothing.
I know.
I've done the show a couple times with like other women comics, and they'll come over and they'll go, "Oh shit, it's video." And I'll go like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Oh, I'll be right back. And
I
they
know.
go,
Look at me. I put on a beanie.
Yeah, she looks great. Yeah.
I look like crap. I'm okay with it. I'm okay.
You keep saying you look like crap. You look like great. You look
I'm
great all week.
tired, man. I'm on like 6 hours of sleep.
We
and
were
I
out.
know.
Last night was New Year's Eve. It was New Year's Eve last
Yeah.
night.
So this is Alvarado
And
on
you-
the 1st of
Yeah,
January.
and I can't remember the last time I've stayed out till 4 a.m. on New Year's Eve either.
Oh my
Usually I'm in bed by
gosh.
12:30.
And we're eating pizza at like 4
Yeah.
a.m. This
Well,
is not good.
It was a heavy night. It was drinking and dancing, all kinds of
yeah.
stuff involved.
Yeah.
It was fun.
I had such a blast.
It was a really good time.
It
yeah.
was good.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the best New Year's Eve I had in a long time.
Yeah.
Don't tell my kids that. They were-
You can tell
I
them.
called them. They were drunk. Hello. Are you home? Yeah. I'm like, okay, good. As long as
Yeah,
you guys
as long as
fucking
you're home.
That's all I care
Exactly.
about.
Yeah.
As long as you're home.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was fun. So, where do you head off to? Where's your next ship? What do you do?
I'm literally, I drive home because we're both in
Oh,
LA.
you go right to another
Yeah.
ship, right?
I drive home. I'm going to take a nap, wash clothes, repack,
Yeah.
and go right to the airport.
Right.
I fly out on like a 12-hour flight.
You
I think
fly
I have a
tomorrow night?
layover. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Red eye.
Oh, that thing through
to
Houston, right?
Honduras.
Oh,
Yeah.
Honduras. Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
right.
yeah. The
'cause it's the back to
Rotan.
front now,
Yeah. So then I'm getting on a ship that goes to Texas.
Oh, man.
I'm doing that for 4 days, and then I'm actually going to give myself. I'm taking 2 weeks off, which
Oh,
is
good for you.
unprecedented. But
Sure.
I have a birthday coming up, and I love being in Puerto Vallarta in Mexico. So I'm just taking a week off. I'm gonna just go lay on the beach,
Right.
read, chill,
Yeah.
and just enjoy life.
And not
'cause-
have to think about nothing.
Yeah,
It's kinda cool.
exactly. Yeah, it's
And
just
not
been,
do like social media too is something where like things like Instagram and TikTok. I'm putting these videos up every day.
Yeah.
I just recently over Christmas I kind of took a week off. I'm like I'm not doing anything
Yeah,
because it's a full-time job now. When you're doing this,
Yeah.
when you're putting up your posts and posting and all that stuff.
it's good for you mentally to stop too. And I think
Yeah, it
even
is.
for your followers, because they're like, oh, we have an opportunity to miss you
Sure.
and to miss your posts and like not connect with you. Oh, so we're excited you're back.
Yeah. When you come back,
You
then
know
it's
what I
like,
mean?
oh,
Yeah.
what have you been doing?
I know.
And then you do like a photo dump or something. Here's where I was for like 2 weeks. These
Yeah.
couple of photos.
It's kind of like a breakup. You let them miss you a little bit.
Yeah. It's like, please come back. Oh, you're back.
Oh, you're back. Now I
Oh,
remember
we're
what I didn't
sorry
like.
we said
Yeah.
what we said.
Exactly. What are you doing? Do you want to buy me a drink? Yeah.
Right on. Well, that's good. Man, at least you get 2 weeks. Man, 2 weeks off is great.
Yeah.
I wish we're moving, so I don't know if I'm not going to get 2 weeks off.
Oh,
but
that's right.
I'll go home, spend 4 days packing,
Yeah.
and then
Super
I go,
fun.
and then I'm heavy for the next. You know what? I get 2 weeks off in May because my daughter's birthday is in May.
Yeah.
And then my oldest graduates a week or so later. So
Oh,
I'm just going
nice.
to take like 2 weeks off then. You know,
Yeah,
I'm always
yeah.
light in May, and then I'm real heavy from like January till May, work wise.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I'm working a lot because I'm just trying to put away money for this special and kind of support my family at the same time. So that's my goal. Shoot that, edit it, hopefully within a month or so, and start putting it out.
Where's your family? Where did you say your family was again? Lima?
So yeah, my parents were born in Lima, but my brothers and I were born in Chicago. So we do have some cousins and stuff here in Southern Cali and then Virginia. And but my mom and dad, they're divorced, but they live in California. So that's super fun because I take care of both of them. Me and my brother do, and they're divorced. So it's like if I want to have the family over for dinner, neither one of them drives. So I got to drive to one person's house, pick them up, drive to the other person's house. They're not mean to each other. They just don't prefer to be together.
Yeah, they're just
anymore.
not buddies.
Yeah. They're nice. They're cordial, but they have nothing to talk about.
Where do they live in California, roughly?
Not that far from me. One's like about 5 miles from me, and my mom's super close, like a mile and a half.
Man, you take care of them in California too. That's expensive.
It
It's
is
not like
expensive.
If they're in Lima, it's one thing, but
That's another reason why I'm working my ass off because I have to help them out,
right.
So, but it's cool. I would rather have them because when they were living in Chicago, it was so much harder because you have to fly there to see them.
Yeah, right.
There's an airplane ticket, usually hotel. Like you're not spending quality time. It's like you come in and then you got to leave and work.
Right.
So at least when they're here, like even I'm going to try to have lunch or something with my mom, even though I'm in town for half a day tomorrow. Mm. And if they're in Chicago, that's not happening.
Right.
So it's really much easier. Plus the weather's better for them.
Oh God, yeah.
Do you remember those? Those
yeah, I don't know how
Chicago winters.
Yeah, I don't know when I was married. I lived on the north side, and both my wife's parents and she had an uncle, her uncle Jelko, who lived in the Lincoln Park area, or near Peterson up north, where there's a big Croatian community up there. And I never understood why he lived there. I was like, God, man, why do you get up and he would walk to the store? They pull those baskets. They have the thing with the wheels. I'm like, why would you do that in January, man? I would get the hell out of here and find anywhere to go warm, anywhere. But no, this is home. This is where I live.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I guess.
Some people love the cold, and I was like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I don't want to.
I'm good. I need to be by an ocean, some palm trees. Just give me some warmth. But it's been freezing in LA too.
Yeah,
like 60 degrees
it's global
is
warming.
not normal.
No, plus we get at night it gets down to late 40s.
Yeah, and then we've had so many more fires. It's really crazy out there.
Yeah, our weather's kind of is a mess. And then the summer we go right back because we live in the valley, so we get that 110 degree heat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We're all over the place.
Yeah, and you guys probably have it worse where the ashes from all of the.
Oh, we get all the ash. Everything's covered in ash. Our pool's covered in ash.
Yes,
it's gross.
And it affects your lungs.
Totally it messes with your. You got to have like we were thinking about getting an air purifier. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Stuff
you
like
should.
that.
Yeah.
And closing up the house because you breathe the ash. There's they have the warnings all the time. Mm-hmm. Don't go on hikes. Don't go outside. Don't do this. But you can smell it and breathe it everywhere. And like it doesn't affect me terribly too much. But there's people out there that have asthma and can't, so something like that, they can't go anywhere. They can't do shit.
Yeah.
And you can see it. I mean, the sky is, what is it, colors like orange or gray?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's gross, man. So.
Yeah. So it's everywhere. It's like you're either freezing and then like Chicago hail.
Yeah.
And
we're all going to die. It's all some sort of fucking weather.
You're screwed either way.
It's earthquakes in LA. You know what I mean? Vegas is 120 degrees.
Yeah.
And then Florida's their shit weather, which is humid, and they have bugs too, which are crazy.
Yeah, they have a lot of weird bugs, man.
Yeah, I hate the bugs, man. Every time I go to Florida, I get chewed up.
Yeah,
they have these things. They're called they were literally called the can't see 'ems.
Yeah,
that's what they call them.
Yeah,
they're can't see 'ems. I'm like, oh, what's that? And I got home from LA and I'm covered in these bites.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh, okay, now I know what they are.
Yeah,
I couldn't
and then
see
you're
them.
afraid that you bring them in your suitcase, and it doesn't even matter if you stay at a really nice hotel. There's I remember they call them sand fleas.
Yeah.
Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
I went to Marco Island and I thought I was on vacation. I got half of my blood sucked out of my body by these things. All my legs were covered in these freaking red little welts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, everywhere I went, I couldn't get rid of them. I like put all my clothes in like the really, really, really hot water from the suitcase, cleaned out the suitcase with like all this stuff, and it was better. They had gotten into my clothes and stuff.
No way, really?
Yeah, it was horrible.
See,
I was
doesn't
like, I will
surprise
never
me.
go back there.
I think that it must have happened to me too, because for weeks later I still had those
Yes,
bites and stuff.
I'm telling you, you bring them because they get onto your clothes and you can't see.
Right, of course, yeah.
You can't kill them. They
Yeah.
just have to die off. So I put all my clothes in really hot water.
Yeah, I know that because like bug bites go away after a little while, but it was like 3 weeks. I'm like, why do I
Really
still have
bad.
these all over my calves and shit?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
so bad.
Those fucking shitty bugs.
We get on that topic.
I
I don't have any material about bugs.
Good. Who cares who wants to talk
Itchy
about? Well, we
stuff,
live in
right.
LA. There's really no bugs in LA.
No.
That's one thing about LA that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
There's no mosquitoes, no bugs. I remember mosquitoes in Chicago, in Illinois, and I grew up in the suburbs, so they were really bad out there. You know, so
Yeah.
we always got chewed up out there. But in LA, you don't really get many. We have the spiders, right?
Yeah. I mean, the only thing you have in LA, which you can't get rid of, are these freaking Kardashian type people everywhere. Those are the real bugs. Those are the ones we tried to squash.
They're
They're
annoying.
like cockroaches and they just don't die. They multiply.
Right.
Like
and
constantly.
and they suck when they go somewhere you can't get in.
They
because-
colonize.
Yeah, they colonize.
Not-
They colonize.
not colonize.
Yeah,
Did
they
you
don't
do that?
colonize.
We just made that
Yeah,
up.
we made a joke up. And when they go somewhere, they shut the place down, so you can't get in. Like I just want to buy a bagel. No, you
Yeah.
can't come in here. It's good. Right now we've colonized the place.
Colonized.
There's like
That's
4
a good
people
word.
in there.
If
Yeah,
I
you
could
got to
remember
keep that. You got to keep that.
colonized.
Write that down. That's funny.
Yeah.
Throw that in the
we
act.
just did that today, you guys.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's
Might
hilarious.
see it in the special.
That's
And
good.
that's how we think, man. I'm starting a podcast as well. I'm starting one in January in a couple weeks, and the whole thing about this podcast is it's called Find the Funny, and that's what I like. That's what we do as comics. We
Right.
find the funny within the really hard stuff that we've survived in life,
Right.
and the everyday things that go on. I really love and gravitate toward comics that talk about their pain and
Right.
make it funny.
Yeah, that's how I got into it. I was a big Kinnison Pryor fan. You know what I mean? And even Louis
Pryor.
Anderson. Louis Anderson was one of the first guys.
Yeah,
He really
that's
brought his
true.
pain on stage.
Yeah.
But that's how, like, one of the jokes, like my family show tonight, I do a big thing about my mom. And I talk about that because my mom went through a lot of shit, and she always told me to laugh at pain. Just
Yeah.
laugh. Shit happens.
Yeah.
And I learned that from my mom. And so every comic that does that that's what gets me into comedy.
Yeah.
That's what I try to do when I'm on stage. So I
Yeah.
love that. That's my
I
favorite
love it.
type of comedy.
And there's some comics that they're really great writers that like Seinfeld that they're wordsmiths, you
Yeah.
know, and they can talk about the minutia of life, and that is also a gift, and it's also really funny.
It's brilliant.
But it
Mulaney's
doesn't
like that. John Mulaney.
it
is one of those
doesn't
guys.
it doesn't really speak to me as much as if I walk out of a showroom and I know nothing about you.
Right.
I could go, and I've seen Seinfeld live, and you laugh and you have a great time, and his timing, everything's fantastic, but I don't feel like I know him as a human being.
Right.
Like, what have you really been through, buddy? Like, where's your pain?
Right.
You know, you can hear it in some of the anger about his bits. That's kind of fun because everybody thinks like he's so jolly. No, he's very angry, man. All comics are.
Every comedy,
Yeah.
all comedy comes from anger.
Yeah.
All comes from anger and pain. That's where
Anger
it
and
comes
pain,
from.
yeah.
We somehow find a way to make it funny. Well, the good thing about that type of comedy too, though, which is why I do it and probably you do it, is you connect with the audience.
Yeah.
How many times does somebody come up to you? I've been standing next to you where people come up and they go,
Yes.
"Oh my God, I did this, you did that, I did this, you did that."
Yeah.
And that's, to me, that's what works for me for comedy, is connecting with the audience. It gives them an opportunity to look at life and go, "Oh shit,
Yeah.
that happened to me too. I get it. I
Yeah.
understand. I feel that." And you
Yeah.
get to make it, because then they feel better about themselves.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
great.
I had a woman come up to me, which meant so much to me after a set, because I'm just working on this new piece about mammograms.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that other women have talked about it. Other comics have talked about it. It's not a new topic, but the way I do it, I try and make it a little more unique and how important it is to go get your exam. And she came up to me after, like, basically crying. Like, she's, I laughing so hard. I just had surgery, you know, they removed cancer and I'm okay. I'm in remission right now. She goes, but I feel deformed because of this surgery. And just the hug that she gave me, she's like, thank you for reminding women to do this. Thank you for making it funny. Thank you for, my son was sitting next to me holding my hand squeezing my hand while you were saying these jokes because he could see that it made me laugh and I could connect. And he's like, and she's like, every time you talked about something that happened in the exam, she's like, that's what I went through for months and months. And it's just so great to try and help people laugh through their brokenness, you know?
And to get people to kind of like, I agree completely. I do. I do a bunch of, I don't do the bits on the ships much anymore. I used to do bits about my dad being an alcoholic. And my dad was a real bad alcoholic. So it killed him. I was 14. That's how he died. He was drinking. He drank too much. His liver just gave. I mean, he drank 4 or 5 bottles of whiskey a day. It was bad. He was at rehab, in and out. He was really fucked up. And I would have guys come up to me. I do a whole bit about my dad getting pissed, getting drunk, pissing in the kitchen. And I mean, it's a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh my gosh, I want to hear it.
I might bring it back. I've been thinking about bringing it back. On Carnival, I could probably get away with doing it.
Because I have a drunk dad bit. It's not like that, though.
Yeah.
But I love hearing stuff like that because it's like the Christopher Titus. How do you make that funny?
Yeah.
How do you make that amount of pain?
I
love it.
I
love
it.
watching the process.
Well, I've had guys come up to me in tears after a show.
I
and
want
been
to
like,
see
dude,
that.
I totally, we had the same dad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a hard thing to make fun of. You know what I mean? And I put it in my one-man show, and then I took it out, and I go, I think I could do this in the clubs. And I took a chunk of it and put it into the show. And I haven't done a lot of it in a long time. You know what I mean?
I want to see that.
Yeah, but I've had guys come out. I do a bit too. I used to do a lot of, in my 20s, I did meth. I did a lot of meth.
Yeah.
And I do a bit about doing meth and about how I quit meth and don't do it. And I had a kid come up to me on a Norwegian ship. This broke my heart. And he looks at me. He's like, hey, man, that bit about meth was really, really good. And he goes, I got a question. He goes, how did you kick it? And I could tell at the time he was tweaking.
Yeah.
I knew right then. I'm like, you're on it now, aren't you? He goes, yeah. And we sat down and talked for like 20 minutes. And I was like, I don't know how I can explain it. I always had the ability to, like, I did drugs and then walked away from them, where I went, that's fucked up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've had friends die, I've had friends killed, and from doing too many drugs, and they just couldn't quit it. I was like, dude, just quit, just stop, do whatever you have to do to stop.
Right.
And some people, they can't. But this kid, I talked to him for like 20 minutes, and I was like, do the best you can. If you have it on you, get rid of you. I walked him through. I go, if you're on meth, it's going to take you 4 days of sleep. You're going to be hungry in 4 days. I mean, I told him everything. Yeah. All these things are going to happen, and it was hard, But you connected with that guy, and the fact he came up and asked me, how did you quit it, means he wants to. It's in his head. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And sometimes that makes you think, as a comic too, that the mammogram story is the same thing.
Right.
That's a special connection and bond with an audience member. Yeah. That's powerful.
Yes. And the crazy thing is, it can go either way. Because I have the lump joke about finding a lump under my right arm, and I make it a saggy boob joke. But I wrote it because that actually happened to me. I did find a lump under my right arm, and I did have to have it removed, and I didn't know if it was cancer or not. It was a really scary time. But so you write from truth, and then you either twist it and make it something else, or you go down the line a little bit further with the truth. And I just chose to bail because I wanted to, it wasn't cancer for me. So I didn't want to keep going down that line. And I just told the joke a different way. And I remember one of my friends that I grew up with, I posted this joke a while ago it was just like a one-liner joke about finding the lump. And I think I said, oh, turns out it was just an M&M, you guys. Like I found it in my, whatever. But the fact that she was like, how dare you? I've had cancer. I'm a survivor. How dare you make fun of it? And like literally she did that on my personal page in front of everybody. She made that comment. Right. Instead of like
she was a friend?
Me. Yeah, she had my number and everything.
Right.
Or messaging me, and I'm like, excuse me, I was there for you during your treatments and stuff like that. Like, I know you went through that. But just because you went through this experience, I had my own experience, doesn't mean that I didn't have pain or drama. Right. And I'm not making fun of you. I'm making light of the situation.
Yeah, they don't understand the content. They don't understand the
content. So they think you're going at them. And I'm like, no. I'm sorry you were in pain.
Right.
But sometimes they're looking for an outlet of their pain, and it's you. You scratched a scab, a painful part of their life, and instead of going, oh, that's funny, they'll go, how dare you? this isn't funny. And I'm like, but I'm not making fun of your situation. I literally am making fun of my own. And that's how I deal with trauma. And it's almost like they're saying, well, you don't have the right to deal with trauma that way. I'm hurting more than you. Nah. We've been through equal pain in life,
Right,
which is different things.
That's a ridiculous stance to take.
But doesn't mean you have the corner on cancer.
Yeah, you have the
because you
corner.
had it. Like you don't have
Right.
Like you survived it. Here's the thing: you're alive.
Yeah.
There are people that passed from it.
Sure.
And that actually had great sense of humor about it. So that's the hard part about these hard topics is sometimes you will hit a nerve with someone and they go the other way.
Right.
Like they have still so much pain that they don't know where to put it.
Yeah.
And the easiest place is somebody like us. How dare you say
Yeah, because
this?
then you become a target because you brought it up.
Right.
I always think about that. Yeah, that's wrong. But they don't understand the content of the joke. Like
Right.
there's a bit I
and
do.
the intention of the heart.
Yes.
If your intention
Yeah,
is
yeah.
to
The intent
hurt-
is very important, right?
I mean, if my heart was like, fuck you people with cancer and I don't
Yeah,
care.
right.
I don't have empathy.
Ha ha! I don't. Right.
That was
exactly.
not at all what
Right,
I was saying. I'm saying it's scary. Let's laugh about it.
Yeah.
This stuff happens a lot. Like, let's make fun of it. Let's not let it have power over us
Right.
for the rest of our lives.
Right.
Let's just take some control back. And our only control, it's not we can control cancer. It's we can control our thoughts about it.
Right.
What we focus on.
Yeah, your actions are your own. You can control your actions
Exactly.
and your thought process.
Yes, your attitude about it.
Yeah, and it's not so much content. I mentioned content in the bit. It's more intent, like you said.
Right.
Which is a big deal which is what comedy always has been from the beginning of time.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Comedy is a way for people to look at the world through a funny view and go, oh shit, that's a point. Oh, that makes sense. Oh, you know what I mean? Like, a good example of that to me is The Daily Show when Jon Stewart was on. I used to watch it all the time.
Yeah.
I learned more about politics during that time than I did from the news because he brought to light a lot of shit, made me laugh. And even now, like, who's the guy on
Humorous, yeah.
Showtime? John, I don't watch his show. I'm sorry. There's a guy on Showtime who does a show. But it's the same thing. They talk about things in the world, but they make it funny. And I go, I had no idea that was going on in the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now you've been educated on some level about something, or you learn about something,
Right.
but you learned it through comedy.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what comedy always has been from the beginning of
Exactly.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for people, but we've reached a point now where people are so uptight and
Yes.
and confrontational about. Don't say this. Don't do that. Who are you? Don't dare.
Exactly.
Don't. And they
So
think they
judgy.
have some sort of right to tell you how to act. Like because you didn't have cancer, you can't talk about this situation.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, well, you had this version of that. So
Yeah.
did you come here to laugh?
Right,
Because
right.
some people literally seek out, I think it's mostly people that are hurting and they need attention. They need some love and affirmation, but they go about getting it the wrong way.
Right.
They go about hurting others so that they get attention because they can't get the attention by just being themselves, or maybe they're too shy or introverted, or they don't, I find like neglect and stuff breeds that kind of attitude in people.
Yeah.
Like when they've been rejected a lot or not cared for. And that sucks because we've both been there. That's why we're comics. But
Right.
we've learned a better way to deal with our pain, and that's by making fun of it.
Well,
That's by bringing
I think
light
that's
to
part of it, but I think part of it too is that everybody just wants to make everything about them sometimes.
Yeah, that's
there are
true.
certain people that want to make everything about them, which I guess is in a way
It's
is a
an
form of
attention
neglect
thing.
too. It's a form of
It's like, hey, my opinion matters.
Right.
And so maybe if I yell louder
Right.
and I'm meaner about it, people
Yeah.
will pay attention, but it's still about the attention that they're getting.
Yeah.
Because think about it. That girl who was my friend, she didn't have to post that mean comment about me on my page publicly.
Agreed.
I went straight to her, like an actual message, a private message. And I was like, hey, that wasn't cool.
Right.
You know that my attention to my heart was this. And of course, I love you and respect what you went through. But I also went through something. And this is my story. And this is how I want to talk about it.
Sure.
And I think it just brings awareness, and people that have been through it, it makes them laugh. And I go, but That wasn't cool.
No.
Like, if you want to talk about it, pick up the phone. Let's talk about it. Like, I want to hear your side. And she's like, no, our friendship is done.
Oh, no way. Really?
Yes. She's like, you are wrong. You can't talk about that. You don't know what you're talking. Like, and I was like, you are in so much pain.
Yeah.
And I literally was like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you're hurting. That breaks my heart.
Yeah.
I hear it.
Yeah.
You're just texting me and I can hear it. And I'm like, but this is not my fault. Your pain, the stuff that you're not dealing with.
This is you.
This is
not
you,
because I made
and
a post.
I'm sorry that you're hurting, but I cannot bend my life around your pain.
Well, plus also, she's completely disregarding your pain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what I mean. It's
Yeah.
like there's levels of pain. I went through more
Right.
than
I
you.
mean, obviously she had cancer, and you're right, and it was tragic, and she got over it.
Right.
But you thought you might have had cancer, which is pretty big itself.
It's crazy.
You know what I mean?
thought I was scared. I went through the same thing. I had a lump removed. I had to wait for the biopsy.
Sure.
Like the whole thing.
Yeah.
I went through that
And
too.
you have family members. I know people. We all know people who have died from cancer.
Yes.
It's fucking horrible. So when you
Yes.
think when they're like, okay, maybe, like I just had a skin. I had the
Yeah.
what do you call it? The
Right up the ass.
I had that test this year. In fact, I just did joke about it. I had that. I had a week off. I did that. I had my teeth cleaned, all the same, top to bottom, same
Top
guy.
to bottom, nice.
And yeah, so
Nice.
I do a joke about it, but they found a thing, and they ran it, and I was like, okay, we'll see. And I'm like, I never
Yeah.
like I'm always real. I always lean toward it's nothing. I'm always there.
That's
But
good.
it doesn't matter because, if you have it, there's still a little thought in your head. You're like, fuck, I hope this isn't it. And then I'm like, of course, things are going good now. And the girls, of course, this
Yeah.
is going to be a fucking,
Right.
you know what I mean? Things, I got nothing to worry about. Oh, by the way, knock, knock. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
just the fact you're thinking about it,
Yeah.
it affects people different ways.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. We're all going to die.
Sure.
We don't know of what and when.
Right.
But we're all going to suffer eventually if
yeah.
you haven't suffered. And it doesn't have to be cancer. It can be something completely
anything.
different.
Yeah.
So, like, the fact that she felt like she had the corner market on this pain was only hers, and to that level,
Yeah.
I was like, this is such
It's almost
a
selfish.
high level of arrogance,
Right,
actually.
right. Yeah.
But when they're in that amount of pain, you can't argue that. You
Right.
can really, I was like, I'm sorry that you're hurting this much, but I'm not going to change my life and my opinions to appease what you think is right and wrong.
Right.
It's a matter of opinion. And don't read my jokes if
Right.
you don't
Right.
like that. You're on my page. I didn't post this on your. That's the crazy part. Is like
Right.
if I had posted this on her page, knowing she had cancer, that would have been shitty.
You're right. Right.
But I posted on my own, based on my own experience,
Right.
and yet she's like, "You're wrong. You can't do that." Yeah, I actually make good money at doing that. That's my job, is to
Yeah.
bring funny to the darkness.
Yeah, right. To make dark things funny. That's kind of
Yes.
what I do, so everybody can laugh at them. We can move on,
Yeah.
unless you want to be mad at me. You know what I
And
mean?
we still haven't talked. She's like, I'm
that
done.
sucks. That's too
It's a
bad.
bummer. Like I hope she's
That's a-
happy and everything.
That's
but
a
I'm
lot
like,
of anger to carry around, though, man.
It
You know what I mean?
is.
That's a lot of anger to carry around in the world.
Yes.
That's just
It is, and that's the venom that's worse than cancer because
eats you up
that's-
on the inside, man. You
that's
just-
optional.
yeah,
That sort of pain.
yeah. You're right.
That is a choice.
Right.
Cancer's not a choice, but holding on to that sort of animosity, anger, loathing, just bitterness, that eats you up just as bad.
And also it's sad too because you
Yes.
think I mean, I don't want you should be, I would think I would be the other way. You know what I mean? Like if I beat cancer, hey,
Yes.
you know what I mean? You're like,
Yeah.
I love
exactly.
that joke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you know the fear, and you're like, I get it. And now it's
Yes.
over. And,
Yeah. I'm starting to do this thing. Like I've only done it once on stage in my family shows because I think it's important to teach kids to do that. Because imagine if we all learned at a really young age how to take your perspective and focus on the positive things.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
What can I learn? So now I'm starting to do that in the family shows. I've only done it once.
That's
and it's
smart.
super fun.
Yeah.
So I take a situation in my life and I go, let's find the funny together. which is risky because you don't know if the audience is going to participate. You don't know if they're going to be offended. You don't know if they're going to be like, oh, I can't think of anything. This is funny, but I don't get it. And I only have a few minutes to do that. And it's just fun to explore. Like, I take a car accident scenario, which that's not necessarily funny, the car accident, but everything around it can be.
Right.
And then we talk about that. And it's amazing how these kids are like, this part's funny. This part could be a joke. This part, because they're going, hey, she's right. There's stuff in here.
Right.
And then we explore it and they come up with more jokes than I do.
Right. Right.
It's nuts.
It's kind of like when I used to teach kids.
Yeah.
Because if you're not telling them, hey, look at life from a different perspective. They're learning it through what you're doing.
Yes.
And they're getting it. That's a powerful thing to do in a family show. It's brilliant. You should do that You should do that. That's great.
Yeah, that's how I'm closing my show.
That's how you engage the kids, too. The kids are totally, they
like,
learn something from your show.
They're like, this is a challenge. All right, I can do this.
Yeah.
I can find the fun.
And they don't even realize that they're working, or they don't realize what they're doing until they're done.
That they're learning something. And not only that, while they're doing it, the parents are like, holy cow.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that perspective either. Look at my kid.
Yeah.
My kid is thinking of something funny out of a car accident.
Right. And when you're a kid, you're more apt to be open-minded to explore different points of view and different things anyway.
Yeah.
Because the older you get, the more jaded
Super
you get,
fun.
and the more funneled you get. You know what I mean? So that was one of the things I loved about working with kids is they were so all over the place. And I would let them find their humor and just kind of guide them, and then they would do it. Like I used to teach. I had parents that would sit in a rehearsal sometimes.
Yeah.
And I had one parent tell his daughter she did something that wasn't funny, and after rehearsal, I said, "Don't ever do that." He said, "What do you mean?" I go, "Don't tell your child they're not funny when they're trying to be funny in front of a room full of people because they won't try next time to be funny."
They'll be too,
You know what I mean? So
insecure.
don't you let them explore, let them learn and create, let their mind grow. And that's a great, powerful thing. And that was one of the most rewarding things about that class was the kids just naturally learn that through the process, which is the same thing for your show. It's brilliant. It's really a great way to work with kids.
Yeah, thanks. It's been really fun. And I'm like, if I'm starting this podcast, how am I not doing this on stage?
Yeah.
I mean, we do it through our comedy.
Sure.
But we don't actually take a moment to go, do you guys see a funny scenario within this that I'm not seeing? Because I'm sure you do.
That's really smart.
And so let's do it together. And then it becomes like this exercise of like, yeah, let's dig and find everything that's funny about this scenario.
Right.
That was really painful for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then if you can do it for me and you're disconnected from the pain, you can do it for you.
Sure. Yeah.
Let's do it for me because it's my pain and it's a little easier to point it out. But next time it's going to be your thing.
Yeah. And it's such a great lesson for kids today. Like some of the things we talk about is kids today is like, they're so connected, and they have the opportunity to be hit with pain 24 hours a day on social media, and they're dealing with shit we never dealt with.
Right.
I mean, I've seen my daughters raised. My daughter's a little younger than your son, so they've grown up in this generation where I've known they've had friends where they can feel pain and suffering at 2 a.m. out of the blue because of a post or a thing. They have so much more to deal with now.
Yeah.
So they have to learn to process these negative things correctly. Otherwise, it's going to really mess them up on the inside.
Yeah.
And then they're all comics.
Yep. Exactly. Which is fantastic for us. But they're already starting on TikTok. It's not fair.
Yeah. Yeah. And they've learned, those little fuckers learned to market it quicker than we did. So good for
the little
them.
dances. Oh, man.
All right, let's wrap this up, man. We're already like an hour or whatever, man. This was, man, thank you so much. First of all, right to the camera, man. Tell me any socials, anything you want to plug, do it now so we can get it out the right way.
So I'm Lisa Alvarado again, and please subscribe to Find the Funny. It's the new podcast. It's coming out in January 2023. Please support. And I'm going to have a thing where you can call in and like tell me what your thing is, and I'm going to work with great comics like Lenny, and we're going to take your situation live and we're going to find the funny. So love one another. Happy 2023. Lisa Alvarado, comedian on all social media. Mwah.
There we go.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. This was awesome. This was all perfect.
It's fun.
Go. Oh, just in time. Your camera died. Yes. Yes.
See how he did that?
Perfect. I knew the battery was going to be iffy going in. That's